It's been a month. It's a new season. Diamond 2 Protoss now. And you said you nailed down that TVP, but we're looking at Terran first. And there are Terrans out there, even if they're playing random like this guy was. So that's already a weird thing, is playing random. But first, we're going to go over all of last month's stuff. And I'm just going to go down the line and we'll determine exactly the level of disappointment. Sound good?
Well, that's gonna be the whatever maximum level it is.
And I doubt it. Pick 2 things at start. Like, have you started picking what your plan is as the game starts?
Yeah.
Or before it starts, as opposed to like just finding out when you go along?
Yeah.
Has that helped?
Helped a lot in PvP and PvT.
PvZ, there's things that can go wrong more often, I think. But
yeah.
Well, that it's good. It helps somewhat. And then pick 2 more things at 5 minutes. Have you been adding on that next level of tech? Have you been thinking about 5 minutes as a time to do that, or?
I guess it's natural from the builds. Like after for example PvT, after you get the DTs, then you need to get tech and upgrades.
Yeah, well, we were like, if I remember correctly, it wasn't so much that you didn't know to do that. It's just you never really knew a timing. So I gave you a timing like, this is when you figure out what you're doing next. So hopefully, there's also force field ramp. Oh my God, have you done that?
Done that once in PvP.
Okay, so so that was on homework. So I'm obviously very good at descriptions. You've started, Reaper at 2 minutes. You said TVP you're pretty confident in now, so I'm not gonna. How about building probes? You think you're better about building probes?
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
Sometimes too many probes, sometimes too little.
No, there's no such thing as too. If you were building too many probes, I'll be impressed.
Well,
I doubt you're building too many probes.
Some games I got to like 100.
Has won against DRG with 108 probes. Okay, like.
That's Has.
That's Has. Yeah. Well,
though.
Zest is just like an advanced Has. So. There you go. I'm trying to find the other notepad. All right. So, gotta be keeping an eye. Tell me about. I'm going to your perspective now, but tell me about this game.
The Terran drops like crazy, but in the end it's fine. I guess the high temperature split, like pre-split.
I think we're getting a little advanced here. Like, tell me about the first 5 minutes of this game. I know he's random, which is why you're walling off the low ground, which isn't the end of the world.
Well, it's a DT build.
That you still don't wall off the low ground against Terran, if you know it's Terran.
No. I mean, it's random, so I can't.
Okay, we've got in a circle. But yeah, against random, I'll usually just wall off the high ground of the ramp, but you can also just do the Zerg wall off. It's not the end of the world. It can be okay in PvP too. Honestly though, I'd just send. Well, let's not worry too much about scouting. All right, we'll get there. Okay.
Your forces are under.
You want to comment on your announcer, or are we just going to keep going?
A very, very annoying announcer.
Well said.
Your forces are taking damage. Terrible damage.
So far, so good. No shield batter.
Got a lot of kills. Well,
I'm pretty.
really
Wait, let
afford
me
it.
check. You can. How much does a shield battery cost?
Well, I'm gonna build a gate right now.
Why? Why are you going to build a gate?
Twilight. I'm going to build a Twilight right now, and I don't.
Are you telling me you're not going to have 100 minerals extra when you build the Twilight?
Nope.
Is that what you're telling me?
Well.
Also, the shield battery
guess
needs to be built as soon as the cybercore finishes.
Yeah, I mean it's too late for that.
But that's why it's the first thing you build. Because one, you won't have enough gas for Twilight Dawn anyways. You can work it in. And it's important it's on time, otherwise there's no point. Because the entire point is that you can send your adept out. If you just keep your adept at home, you don't really need a battery. But let's be honest about how that works.
I don't send it out. In this build, I just keep them home.
Which is probably the safer
I don't want
move.
them to scout the DTs.
I wouldn't worry too much about them scouting the DTs. So unfortunately, when you don't have a battery, you find yourself in like, oh, here we go. This is not the best adept micro I've ever seen. What did you think was gonna happen when the Reaper, not the Reaper, the Reaper went that way? What was the plan?
He's gonna float some minerals, and let's go from there.
I mean, he is. He is. But wouldn't it be better if he floated some minerals and also didn't kill a bunch of your probes? Just build the battery, okay? Just build the battery. Honestly, in PvP as well, everybody builds a battery nowadays. Just watch Zest versus Clem, where Zest slaps Clem around for a while. Like, that's a good series. And Zest keeps going DTs, by the way. Like, a man after your heart. Just watch Zest versus. Well, actually, just wait a week and you'll see it on my YouTube. So don't watch it too quick. You don't play any Terrans anyways, but I gotta. Or Hearthstone's already done something. Okay. Like, so yeah, this Reaper now has 4 kills. Like one's probably gonna happen. Like if there's a probe somewhere weird, but like it should not get 4. That is completely unacceptable.
It's annoying.
And you're right. He is banking. He hasn't built an SCV this whole time. So like.
The painful thing is I need to build a Dark Shrine right now, but he is in my base. I can't slap it down his face.
No, at this point, I'd rather you slap a Dark Shrine down than lose 5 probes to a Reaper. Like, then he's worried about the Dark Shrine. At least. Oh my god. Oh my. Well, thankfully he screwed it up. But that was... Ooh. Yeah. Just build the battery. Okay. Are we agreed? Alright.
Yeah.
Build battery after core in TVP. Battery after tech building PvP. Usually you get like a Stargate, and then as your Stargate's building, you get a battery. Because what if they're building a Stargate outside your base, right? Welcome to PvP. Okay. I want you to stop worrying about whether they see the Dark Shrine, because half the time, the value of the Dark Shrine is them being scared of DTs. Unless you're just, your entire plan is the DTs win the game. And then, I mean, maybe.
Well, it happens.
It happens, but like it's not reliable. I say that, and then, once again, Zest played, so like... You're gonna usually want more than one gateway. The problem is we're already pretty fucked up here. Because you lost 5 probes, which delayed everything, and also you have a lot less minerals because you lost 5 probes. So, usually the gates should be after the Twilight. Like, the next 300 minerals should be going to the gates.
I think this build is Twilight, Dark Shrine, Adept, and then at like...
No. There's gates somewhere in there. There's definitely more than one gate.
It's after the Adept, there's another gate. So that when the Dark Shrine finished, the gate finished like a few seconds before.
Fair enough. Well, it's a lot easier if you don't lose 5 probes to a Reaper, so... So shield battery costs 100 minerals. And 5 probes cost how many minerals?
Oh.
250 minerals. And they mine about 50 to 60 minerals a minute. So, okay, you're gonna build the battery, I'm sure. Alright, we got it. So, you not only did you lose 250 minerals, but over the course of 2 minutes, you also lost another 250 minerals.
Oh my god, I lost a third.
And then some. I mean, don't let that stop you. Why did you put the pylon there if you weren't going to use it to warp over?
Oh.
You could
Never
put
thought
it a
about that.
little closer to the like the minerals and either warp over the top or either way. If you don't have a warp prism, 90% of your strategy is hoping he doesn't have a missile turret right now.
He does.
He does. Probably because you built a... Well, let's assume he has a brain, which is not a fair assumption, but maybe he does. You built a Twilight Council, like, 3 minutes ago, and you haven't attacked him with anything, which is kind of weird, right? Like, you tried 2 Adepts, but it's not Blink Stalkers, so if he has some semblance of a brain, he could think, like,
You're
maybe
engaged.
it's some other Twilight Council-related activities.
Maybe it's glaives.
Or maybe he thought it was Stargate or something, because you were just doing some weird the classic don't attack for so long, he doesn't know what it is strat. Well done
Our
there.
forces
You
are
really
under attack.
bamboozled him. So that was about as bad as it could go. I think he used 1 scan, so.
Yeah.
Hey, but at least you got, you know what you did? You did well here.
The third.
That's 1. Another thing.
Charge.
Yeah. And the robo's a little late, but it's on time, and you just built 1 more building as well. That was on time.
Oh, forge.
Yeah, all that came together. So the next thing we're looking for is going to be between 50 and 60 probes, adding on some more gates. Tech timings. Robo, 3rd, and forge. Like, just getting all those. That was not like... I'm pretty certain that was not what you were doing a couple months ago. Would be like, DTs, you'd be like, maybe charge. And then if you had too many minerals, like a 4th. But at least you have a direction now, so that's good. Even if you can't do everything at once, you know what you need to get.
The build is pretty smooth in terms of that because you're going to have like the mineral Fuzzy Nexus and stuff.
Yeah, well, that's not one of the stuff. No. You can't go 3-gate, Dark Shrine, and Charge, and High Templar. No. That needs to be more gateways. You're at, like, 55 probes, and he's on 2 base, for all you know. So that means, like, max 55 probes. Like, 50 to 55 probes to 8 gates, unless Robobay 6 gates. Because you need to have units. You can't, like... Eventually you'll get players that hit on time with a decent amount of unit. You know, like, you can... Even if you're warping in on cooldown, which you're not, you can only warp in 3 units every 30 seconds or so. And that's why it's gonna feel like, oh wait, he's dropping me with literally just Marines. And I can't warp in anything. Fortunately, now you work. No, okay.
Why do I have these 2 observers here?
At least you're not using Selecto Army. Wait, yeah, that's actually if I was more cynical, I'd be like, you're pointing out how you didn't use Selecto Army, but I don't think that's the case. I think you're legitimately wondering. The observers are good. And it's obvious you're not using Selecto Army there, based on the fact the observers didn't move. So, because they're not in like siege mode. So you see that drop, right?
Yeah.
You didn't see it at the time, did you?
No. It's like it's about right now.
So observers should go. Can you see my ping?
Nope.
Let me.
I guess it's like.
Can you see it now?
Your base is under attack. Stay
Yeah. So like, a good place to siege up the observer is like just at the like a little bit outside of. I mean, it's pretty obvious places, but one is like at where the 4th is on the left side. Maybe if I go to the everyone cam, can you see it now?
Oh, maybe I need to go there, bro.
Yeah, just go to everyone cam.
Okay, yeah.
Like one over there, sieged up, sees the drop on the left, and then honestly, it's better to just pretend you have overlords. Like that'd be a good spot to siege up. You have 3 observers, so might as well, right? Like, because the map is dark and full of Terrans. So observers in those spots, and then usually, especially once you get a 3rd, and it's a little early for it, but like you'd put pylons along these edges. You see that? That's once you get a 3rd, you're at the point of like, I can't move out without having time to react to a drop. Otherwise, he can just come in every time your army goes out, and you don't always have recall. Alright, I'm going back to your camp.
It's gonna be a disaster.
Oh, the drop of the natural is a total disaster.
Your warriors have engaged the enemy.
Yeah, that, like, I've got nothing. One, you're warping in 1 out of your 3. You just don't have enough gates, is part of it. Now it's a compounding issue, because if you did, you wouldn't have to worry so much about one of the drops, because you could just warp in to deal with 1 medevac. You gotta get the gates on time. You're not gonna have the probe count now, because he's slaughtering all your probes. But you can't go for Storm with 3 gates. That's just not a thing.
They're attacking your base. Are taking that.
Yeah, you it's way, yeah, you just kind of lost your whole natural. And that drop came in first on the mini-map, by the way. So, like,
Terrible damage.
I don't have too many solutions for that, besides better observer placements that give you a higher likelihood to see it earlier.
Your
But
forces are under
there's
attack.
no tip besides just get your observers out there. All things considered, I mean, like, he's a diamond Terran, and he's random. Look at his minerals. And that's the only reason you're still in this game, by the way. Like, but you will eventually face players who know how to hit their production hotkeys at the same time, and you've essentially lost now against the higher level players. So
Yeah.
you gotta be ready. I'm gonna put something like, observers out, observer overlords. I think that'll be, because that translates better. Do you play any Zerg?
Yeah, I played.
So you know like how overlords are supposed to work, at least what they're looking for and where people put them. So like you
Yeah.
can essentially copy that with observers, except observers are just better. After 3rd up, after your 3rd finishes, that's when you make your observers become overlords, essentially.
Your base is under attack. Stay cool. You're engaging the opponent. Time to raise your APM. Research complete.
Unfortunately, stalkers are very bad. Yeah, this is now all compounding off the fact you don't have enough gates. So now everything terrible has happened. You've survived for now. This is a very important. This is a teaching moment here, because I don't think your build was terrible. It was okay. You needed a shield battery. Like, the DTs were both late and mediocre, but you got a 3rd up. Like, you were in a perfectly good position. But you got kind of flustered on the first drop, and then it kind of went downhill from there. So now we see, we're going to assume in the future you got the observers out there, but you're in this scenario where the Terran has done some damage and probably has a decent army, but you still have a decent economy and a lot of tech, but not enough production. So, first, let's see what you do. No. The answer is no. How much does a cannon cost?
Well, a gate.
That was your saving grace. I set you up, thankfully. You saw where I was going. One cannon, okay. But your first priority is not locking the barn door after the horse has murdered your entire economy. Like, one, this isn't even necessarily going to stop the medevacs. They could just boost past, potentially, along the bottom edge.
No, not if you have 2 cannons.
One, don't you dare say that in this house again. 2, they can boost past on the bottom edge. They might, like, 2 cannons may get 1 medevac, but we should not be debating that. Because if even 4 Marines get out, they could kill your whole mineral line, right? Like, so, the answer is obviously here, gates. You need gates desperately. And that is the reason. Like, you're even on workers right now. And you have 3 bases. At about 8 minutes is when you start mining out of your main. Terrans mine out faster, usually, because their mules grab the same minerals. So even though they have the mules, like, if they don't take a third, they're just mining out faster. So right now, your economy's fine. Cannons, static defense in general, at all stages of the game for every race, is to buy time for your units to show up. The only time it's not that is when you're maxed out and literally can't add to your army, so you add static defense. Even though it's still a similar scenario, it's just a different reason. So you had 1 gate and 3 cannons. I would accept 3 cannons and 1 gate. No, wait, no. That's wrong. 3 gates and 1 cannon would be fine. Don't you dare. Don't you do it. Don't you. This better be gateways. If I see 2 cannons here, I'm going to be disappointed. Especially with your 2 observers. I'm on your I went to your camera, by the way. But I see you select. You're at the natural. You worked on the main. You decided that the play was all those cannons.
That looks like some cannons.
It does look like cannons are. I don't think it's gonna be gateways, but at least you're watching this time, right? Hello. The Archon, I don't think can get through.
Oh, right.
Unfortunately, all those cannons did not save you from the medevac that flew in before the cannons finished. Oh no. How do you think your probes feel right now?
It's a field trip day.
Once it gets down to 1 medevac, if you have 6 gates, you shouldn't be needing to run your probes around. Like 6 gates with maybe a cannon in the mineral line. You can almost always warp in enough to deal with 1 medevac of units. But you literally just don't have the amount of warp gates right now to even deal with 1 medevac of units. Like 4 Protoss gateway units cannot kill 8 supply of Terran bio with a medevac.
Your base is under attack. Your forces are taking damage. Terrible.
The cannon, you see the cannon served its purpose there. That's the kind of cannon you want.
Terrible damage.
Is it bought enough time for you to get your units into position, but unfortunately, yeah, that is way too late. More gates, less cannon, more gates. I just want to put that twice. I'm going to say 50 probes, 8 gates, 60 probes, 10 gates. I've noticed Zest been doing this. I think we can base everything on Zest now, because who wouldn't? But if Zest is feeling good on his economy and he doesn't feel like he's going to die, like maybe he did damage with DTs or something, he'll just go to 60 probes and then get 10 gates. But if he feels like there's some pressure coming, then he'll cut it 50 probes until he gets up to 8 gates. It seems to just be on how the game's going, but like, just pick one. Pick one instead of you're struggling to get to 7 at 10 minutes. And your entire army is based on gateway units. No, it can go anywhere, by the way. You don't need to wall off anymore. I don't.
Oh, it's just I don't want to move my camera around.
I
Too
know.
much
I
effort.
know what it is, but like I just needed to point it out. Oh, I think we've moved to select all army here.
Yeah.
Fortunately, you'll survive for now. So you still have the
Upgrade
minerals
makes your
here.
unit stronger. That mineral field's gone. Looks like we're going to the
It looks like most of the stuff you want to do is good, but you're not. Because it took so long to get off the ground, he keeps just hitting you.
Your base is under attack. Mineral field depleted.
Archons are
So
very good.
obsessed with the
That mineral field's gone.
with the core.
Looks like we're going to the late game.
don't
I
even
mean, if he
build
kills the
stalkers.
core, good. Like, that way you'll stop building stalkers. Like, he won't even be allowed to build stalkers anymore. That wouldn't be a bad thing for you. Like, Archons and charge lots are better. Yeah, this is when, instead of having 2 observers, well, you had 2 observers, you have an observer now. I don't know what happened to the first one. The probe on patrol is good, but he could literally, like, outside the 4th, he might be able to just walk past it, because it's not, like, perfect. You don't need, oh wait, that's a DT, never mind. That's multiple DTs. Okay, that's not a bad, that's a good move. The DT backstab is at a good time here. Anything to keep him busy. You're making a concerted effort to recall to the right base, which is super important. I don't know how many embarrassing recalls you had to go through, but this is really well done. That was a proportional response on all fronts. You see, like, imagine if you had gotten enough gates that you didn't have to move your entire army each time. Like, you can see why having 5-6 more gates 5 minutes earlier would be very helpful. This is really good. Like, this is actually really well done. You really made it hard on yourself getting here. Just warp it on the low ground. Oh my god. Stop. They're gonna.
Wow.
So what's gonna happen with those zealots? I think is they're gonna try to go around the natural ramp to the 3rd. By the way, the 3rd is at the other low ground. Terrans will sometimes do that.
Find out. Hope you have an
I don't even know if you see that by the end of this game. I don't know how long the game.
I think I've seen that like at the very end. I thought he was still on 2 base.
Your
And
forces are under attack.
Yeah, it's harder to recognize, but like, at some point you got to be like, The probe saved you by at least a few seconds, right? Like,
Mineral field depleted.
okay,
and the cannons, I guess.
where do you think he is right now with the rest of his
Well,
army?
At the front door.
This is the observer you have in the center of the map is about as bad as you could put it, while still seemingly being in a good spot. Does any unit ever normally move in that area? I know the center
Right,
maybe.
there's a rock.
There's a mineral wall and rocks. He would have to go out of his way. That could be just in the center of the map, but that is actually, like, in court, you could argue it was useful, and it is not beyond a reasonable doubt that you put it here just to fuck with yourself. But, like, it also is kind of terrible, because even units that are just moving to your natural are probably going to go, like, on the north side of it, because they have to go around the rocks. So,
Yeah.
Our forces are under attack.
okay. Stalkers.
That
Colossus. Not a bad Colossus
Gone.
switch.
Look,
Did you just switch because you're adding in more, or did you see
like
Ghost?
we're going to the late game.
You know, okay,
I
the
didn't
observer,
see
it'll
Ghost,
hold
but
up.
I
Mineral
think
field
I
depleted.
think it's about time those things show up.
See, that's not bad. That's the right call. It's like,
That feels-
once you get to like 150 supply, once you get to 4 bases, you have the gas to go for
Mined out.
all the things Terran complain.
have-
You know, you could mine it with like 4 probes instead of just no. That's the only probe who's allowed to mine those minerals. Yeah, if you mine it with 4 probes, you don't get in this awkward scenario like cheering a probe on to mine through the mineral wall.
Expansion.
Just like 4 probes. It'll be done in like a minute then. Okay, so you saw his army move over to the right toward your natural. On the mini-map. So,
Yeah.
I can't help but notice, personally, that you are moving the other direction.
That mineral field's gone.
Oh, I think
Looks
it's my
like we're
control
going
group
to the
messed up.
late game.
Oh no, it's not.
No, it's because of the
Oh.
probe at the stupid-ass middle. No, also, this is not a control group mess-up. You are making multiple actions to move to the left. So unless you want to base trade for some reason.
Depleted.
Yeah, you this is another case. I'm not sure how to fix this. One, the observer placements could be better. But he moved his entire army going... I want you to just stare at the minimap, okay? At this moment... Wait, no. I gotta go a little further back now. So just look at the minimap. Your minimap. And your phone. It's probably spam.
Yeah.
That feels
Well,
Downstairs?
that looks like he's okay. Never mind.
Does it? Does it though? Even with your terrible observer, there's a marked movement. And then, after that whole movement is made, which was not a small amount of time, like, this is the kind of thing where you played a 70% of a good game. There's been obviously some macro issues. The build was kind of mediocre, but you built the right army, and your army can win almost any fight now. Unless you're not there. In which case, it is very hard to win the fight because you're not in it. Yeah, this
Oh.
is
Need to buff then.
you need what you need. Somehow, like, overlay your minimap on half your screen. Okay, like, because you actually saw it is the beautiful part. Like, you had an observer in a mediocre enough location to see this whole thing. I mean, you might still win. Of course, this is... Yeah, I mean... Okay. A few more storms.
He throw the game.
Oh yeah, he didn't... He built ghosts, and then he ran into a choke point. Thankfully to you, you were able to just walk in with storms.
Well, I split up the High Templar at the back. I know he's gonna... Yeah,
All the
pierce
High
me.
Templar had died horribly before you were really splitting anything, but sure, I know.
No? Well, there is something if you go back a minute. Or
I'm gonna go back, and we're gonna see. I mean, once again,
there are
you.
like 5
The
at
most
bottom.
important part is that you moved completely out of position, and if he had, like, say, what if he had 6 Liberators? Which is not much, and completely reasonable. What if he had 6 Liberators instead of 8 Medivacs? Like, well, not instead of, but like 4 Medivacs and 6 Liberators, which is a perfectly acceptable. You have Colossi, so... Okay, okay.
Yeah, my High Templar are separate hierarchies.
What part of this is you splitting the Templar? I
Well,
just
it's
see
right now-
Templar who move slower than the rest of the army, like
No,
normal-ass
it's a
Templar.
separate hockey.
Oh, okay. Oh, I'm sorry.
It's
So you are doing the bare minimum now. With your Templar. On 7 and 2. Wait, what? I mean, it's good they didn't lead the charge. Keep doing. I'm not saying like the Templar won the fight. Without the Templar, you actually lose this. So, without at least a couple storms, that's enough bio to even beat the Colossi. So, does he complain about Protoss at the end?
No, he's a random
Mineral
player.
field depleted.
I mean, it's not unheard of. Yeah, it is a little, it's so obvious it's a little hard to scout, but by this point probably should know the other base. Warp it on the loop! You can't warp up, but you can warp down. I don't, it's so, like, it's a mental block. That's another mental block thing. It's like, you can't see the minimap, and you don't understand how multiple levels of pylons work. But the big, okay.
What's up? Terrible damage. That
Oh, well, we found it.
gone. Look,
Were you a select all army addict, or was that not your problem? Like, at
No.
some point.
Maybe.
Beat the enemy.
I don't know. Maybe like some time ago.
Because,
Launch detected.
okay. Keep warping in. Oh my god, Maru, what have you done? He probably just nuked himself right there. Like,
Research complete.
now you're just like, I can build whatever, I'm winning the game.
Yeah.
There you go. So, like, more gates. It's like the simplest and the largest issue. Like, it should be the easiest to fix, but it's such like a large issue, it's probably gonna take a bit. But you just need to build more gates. Like, you gotta build the gates. It's super important. Most of the rest of the game depends on you building those gates. If they're even a little, like, at the higher, as you move up, which we're gonna assume happens, as you move up and you don't build the gates, it's gonna feel like you're constantly on the back foot. You're constantly trying to figure out, like, well, I didn't see the drop coming. Well, that's because you never had enough army. Go watch Zest versus Clem, or wait a week, like I said. But Zest is always up in Clem's grill because Clem is so good at multitasking, right? Like, he's ridiculous. It's stupid. So Zest just keeps punching him in the face. Like, he loses his army, so there's maybe not... Don't take away everything. He keeps losing his army over and over. But Clem is never allowed to drop, because Zest just has, like, 12 gates, and he won't stop warping in stuff, like, right on Clem's side of the map. And, really embodying the best defense is a good offense. But I left the game, by the way. So, anything else? Any other questions on that game? Most of it is more gates. Build a battery. I know it was random, but you still can build the battery in time. Like, the actual tech choices and the control, besides the times when it seemed like you didn't see the minimap, was fine. It was good. Like, High Templar on a separate hotkey, building Colossi, adding them in, like, that was all good. But
I think I'm pretty confident on PvT.
But Zerg. Most of the issues are Zerg. Alright, so that was the compliment part. Now we're gonna watch whatever this disaster is. Tell me about this game.
I just lose. I don't know what.
I just
guess
lose. I don't know what. Can you provide any more detail than that?
I guess I don't have upgrades.
Okay. So a little more
that-
than that.
that-
A little.
that
Try a
does
little
not
harder.
seem like a main issue.
Do you at least know? Do you at least have the wall off? Random clan. Is this another random player?
No, it's not.
It's just a random dude. I don't know. Just sometimes people. I mean, you can make your own. I've seen a lot of Diamond Leaguers around it. All right, good talk. So far, like, you could send the probe out earlier, but it's not a big deal. I don't think hatch blocking is necessary or maybe even worth the time at
No,
this
it's
level.
not.
Like, it's literally only for people who are going to chrono boost out and micro their adept. Like, that is why it's done so much at the high level, because, like, Zest or Parting is going to micro the shit out of their adepts and not miss their build. But if you're at any risk of missing your build, I don't think hatch blocking is going to have the return on investment. Speaking of hatch blocking, so we've been here before, right?
Yeah.
What's the probe count? How many probes?
7.
7. 7 is good. I mean, you can do a few more if you want. Or a couple less with a zealot.
Your forces are taking damage. Terrible, terrible damage.
Okay, go home, probes. Go home, probes. Go. Oh,
Your attack.
okay. It was great right up until your probes kind of sat there for like 15 seconds. Because at this point, like, it's not that big a deal. Let's see. Well, how long actually is it? Because you spend some time killing it, but... Did you notice anything about his base?
There's nothing.
That's true. No spawning pool yet. He made it as soon as you left, but that doesn't matter. Okay, so you kill it in about 2 minutes.
Our forces are under
Oof.
attack.
Control click on the probes. That's the way.
I never get used to control click. I like double.
It's
click.
very helpful. I found, I mean, I guess double click works, but control click means you only have to hit the mouse once, and the mouse is much more likely to have to move, right? So,
Yeah, double click is hard to hit.
so like maybe try to get used to it. I don't know. I use it also for like select all army. You can't even use it for select all army because like I want all my high Templar, right? But I don't know where all the high Templar are because I kind of warped them in places and built energy. So select all army, I hit it, and then I control click the Templar and put them on a hotkey. So that way it doesn't have to be on the screen. You can do the selection. Like right now, you can't see it, but like put a box around your natural. You got a zealot in that box?
Yeah,
You got some probes in that box?
yeah. and
Now
then
control click the
unbuildable
probes.
plate.
And now control click the probes.
Mm.
You see value? You don't even have to like click on the unit. You just have to box the area, which I think you can pull off, and then you can just deselect the probes. That's the preferred way, and what I've noticed most pros do to return to working when sometimes, like, you'll probably have some stalkers chasing an oracle or something. So like, it's gonna be hard to pick out the right unit exactly unless you actually kind of filter it like that. So, I'm gonna put that on homework. Control clicking probes, other things, but mostly probes. Control click! I'm putting it twice. That way you'll read it twice, because the first time you see it on the minimap, you might not notice. Yeah, this is, if this isn't hurting you right now, then you deserve it. You deserve to be hurt. Yeah, yeah. The pro's just sitting there. So, you're still ahead. Like, you dealt with it cleanly. So, on a scale, like, how do you feel right now about the game? Like, now you got your Nexus. You cleaned it up. How are you feeling? Are you feeling behind, or?
I think I shouldn't build this charge a lot, but otherwise fine. Not charge out. This is Zealot.
Yeah. No. The Zealot was good. I don't mind the Zealot. The Zealot also, he has to respect it. Like, if he didn't have a pool, you can go out with a Zealot and an Adept, and he has to build Zerglings. If you look at his drone count, he's at 22, and only now is he going to have more than you, and he's just now catching up. So they haven't been mining. Of course, not all your probes have been mining either. So, and some of them are just kind of, they're all over the place right now. Like, also Warp Gate as soon as the Cyber Core finishes. Like,
Oh, I want my Stargate.
that's a little fair as long as you get it before you would have the gas for both. Are you? All right, there we go. Oh my. Okay. No, you don't need a pylon, right?
No,
that's
the
not a
pylon
wall.
doesn't.
That's not a
the
wall.
pylon doesn't reach the top.
This is why you gotta put it in a line. Okay. You see a line from the smallest width area?
Yeah.
The Cyber Core is offset one back. Is what went wrong here. It doesn't look like it. It looks weird when you're first placing it down, but your Cyber Core is back, and that also means the pylon need to be further up. I mean, it might have worked if your pylon was further up as well. So when you said, like, do you know how to wall off, the answer ended up being no. Because you need to be able to wall off with 3 large buildings.
Well, the answer is sometimes.
The answer, sometimes is worse than no. Okay, it's worse than no. I mean, I'm definitely not 100% on it, but like, you need to and this was before any proxy hatch or anything. You had all the time, or at least you had no pressure in placing that first pylon, but it's just not in the right spot, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah. There's not much else to be said about that. Oh yeah, the drone's gone, by the way. Like, yeah. It went home. So yeah, this is why it's fine, because he has nothing. Like, I don't. You queued up probes. There you go. That was good. Realizing you're probably gonna be microing the adept a little too much.
Engaging the opponent. Time to raise your APM.
I like the Void Ray choice. Oh yeah, you're not good. Yeah, that was just shift right click as many drones as you can, and then just assume the adept dies. I think is your best. Like, you don't want to be coming back and then out microing yourself and dying anyways. Just feels bad. So you're winning the game super hard at this point. Does it feel like it?
Yeah.
Oh, good. Are you going to lose this game?
Yeah.
Okay, I hope so. So, this is a really good place to be, but it is hard to make a decision on exactly what to do. No, we don't care about the Zealot anymore. You should be building probes off both your Nexi. You should maybe try hotkeys for any of your production, like maybe for your Stargate. Hotkey your Stargate. Why aren't you hotkeying your Stargate? Hotkey, Stargate, Robo, etc. And I don't want to hear the, well, eventually I do. No. Now is when you need it. Now is the important time to have it. You need to be able to do any sort of micro while also being able to produce.
Your warriors have engaged the
No. We're running into the same. So, you get punished way more in this matchup as well, by the way. Zergs can overwhelm small amounts of units easier than Terrans. Because against Terran, you have, like, a shield battery overcharge is really good. You have some pretty significant hard counters. But, like, if he just has 20 roaches or 40 Zerglings, like, and you have 2 gates, you're never going to stop him. You're just not, they're just going to run you over.
enemy.
So, I'm already seeing, okay, 1 more gate. That makes 2. Which is, it's not that important yet. I'm just seeing the same things as in the Terran game. Like, this is when you need to have hotkeys. Is there, like, a reason you don't?
I forgot.
Like, you gotta have. There's no reason not to. I was wondering if you would come up with something. But it's good you didn't, because I would have to question myself. But yeah, there's no reason not to have the Stargate hotkey. Like, Warp Gate, you're using the Warp In hotkey, I assume. For Warp Gate, usually. Yes? Hello? Bob?
Huh?
Bob! Did you hear me?
Yeah?
Do you use the Warp Gate hotkey for warping in things?
Of course.
Of course? Okay, good.
I don't hotkey my gates.
No, that's fine.
Like a waste of key.
There's no reason to have them hotkeyed if you have the Warp Gate key. Unless you want, you could just switch the Warp Gate key to something, but... Hold it together, Bob. We still got all of this disaster to go. Yeah, there's no reason for the Stargate to not be hotkeyed right now. Oh. So you got a Twilight. What was the Twilight for?
Really nothing.
Like, that's the problem with going, like, a Twilight so early. Because you don't have enough gates to really do anything. So this is fine. This should be fine. No. You got to wall off behind the Adept. Because he's going to kill the Adept. And then he's going to get in your base. But
well, he killed the Adept.
And then he gets in your base. No, you just wasted all your energy. Yeah, this is some poor crisis management here. This is another case of, like, you seeing it coming, or not really seeing it coming and taking way too much damage. So one, the stasis, way too late. Just kill the Zerglings. Like, the solution here is to kill the Zerglings with the Oracle, which you can do, because there aren't that many Zerglings, right? Like, but now you don't really have that much energy. And if you're going to wall off, the reason we set up the wall like that, partially, is so that way you can jam like a shield battery or a pylon or even a gateway behind the Adept. But you did not. That, like, you gotta do that. It has to be done. Like, build a wall to keep the Zerg out. Don't just let them in, please. Like, don't let the Zerglings in your base. You see, it's another thing on, like, the walling off. Because, like, you built buildings. All you needed to do was move the probe to build like a pylon behind the Adept, and nothing gets in your base. But you didn't, and that's bad. And now it's getting worse. Yeah, here in this kind of fight, like, you just gotta eat the Baneling mostly, and then just fight with the Zerglings. Oh my! Wow, you've really gone out of your way here. Yeah, this is, well, the stasis ended up, yeah, it's almost never better to run away with your probes unless they have a bunch of banelings. Yeah. So you lost 12 probes to something you should have lost 0 to. Does this remind you of anything? Was there something last game where you lost a bunch of probes for no reason? The Reaper was more acceptable, by the way. The Reaper was way more acceptable, because the Reaper, like, one shield battery doesn't necessarily solve it. And you can't always get a shield battery, and he was random. This is just, you saw the Zerglings, you saw the Banelings, you're like, I need to reinforce my pylons, and then you just let everything in. Like, this cannot happen. It's just, I have no solutions for you. Besides, don't let Zerg... If they show up out of nowhere, which is unlikely when you have Stargate, but if they show up out of nowhere, okay, maybe. In fact, it might have been better because you wasted all your Oracle. It takes 50 energy for a stasis. The Oracle could still be firing. Oh, you really put a lot of effort into making this difficult. Does it feel like that in Protoss versus Zerg for you a lot?
Your base is under attack.
I don't know.
Because this is also partially what happens when you have no gates. Because against Terran, they have to build units and walk or fly them across, whereas Zerglings are pretty fast, right? So they just keep coming. Okay. You see it. You did it. So even despite all this, and this was terrible, by the way. This was... it would have been harder to do it worse, while still, like, not actively, like, killing your own probes. So we're acknowledging that. Yeah. But despite all that, you got a third, you got your tech, you have Void Rays, and you've stabilized, which means you're still winning. Despite your best efforts, you are still winning this game. As long as you don't select all army that Adept. Yeah. When someone's building this many... Do you know what upgrades he has?
0.
That is correct.
Right?
Yes. I was just wondering, like, if you've been checking. Not that it matters much, because he obviously doesn't have that many drones. Okay, so that was a lot of... He killed 14 probes when he should have killed 0, but it's fine. You're actually about to be ahead on workers. And press the L key.
L?
L key, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. That's the units lost. So, I don't know what the 2 idle probes are in the main, but... Robo? Gate? No, don't stop there. No! The Forge is fine. Like, you gotta... In pro games, you see this all the time. You watch some pro games, right?
Yeah.
Who's your favorite player? You're gonna say Parting, and it's gonna ruin everything.
Well, Parting is pretty good, but I don't know.
No, pick a player. Who's
Trap?
your favorite? Trap? Well then, Trap is a pretty standard player. In Protoss games, whenever you're watching in the near future, or if you're going back, or just in general, there's always a gateway explosion, right? There's always the like 4-6 gates in production. No matter what matchup, it happens. And now is the time, or at least very soon is the time. It would have been the fun. It's awkward because you lost so many probes, but as you're getting your third up, gateway explosion. No, it's no.
Actually, I haven't. I don't know when is the time to build the second Stargate.
It's a little late now. The second Stargate is like before your second Void Ray finishes. But you are not going.
Oh my
You went.
God.
Might I remind you? You went for charge lots. You went for a robo and a forge, and you are only on 2 bases of gas, and you're not even mining all of that. So that's the ship has sailed on the Stargate idea. By the way, yeah, he just attacks with a bunch of. So you know about shield battery. Yep, there you go. Which makes 3 adepts, 20 adepts. For about 10 seconds. Wow. It's very good. No. You see, this is becoming... You're becoming a Bronze League hero on this. You've seen it before. You're like, I got attacked. What do I need? More cannons. Like, no, that's not solving the overall problem. Which is, at some point, you have to win the game. Like,
Well depleted. That field's been mined out. Hope you have an expansion.
would you somehow miss all the Zerglings with the revelation?
Yeah.
And only hit the overload? Yeah. Well, at least you're trying to use the revelation. You also hit the rocks. Some large targets.
Oh, that's easy to hit.
Oh my. So what is the real answer here? It's not a bunch of Void Rays. It's Archons and Charge Lots. But you only have 4 gates! Once again, it's the same problem as Terran. Now the issue against Zerg, and probably why you struggle, is 1, you're not applying the same builds. You can do the same builds. It's Diamond. Like, the same unit composition will work, which is like Storm into Colossi. Or maybe Immortals, like something from a Robo. You can do the same thing.
Once the lurker comes out, I'm kind of.
The problem is, and we're getting to that, is lurkers are eventually an issue. But, like you'll see in any pro game where they go Stargate, it's Stargate into ground and then back into Sky Tunnels. Because if you don't have the ground, you just get run over anyways. You might have 10 Void Rays, but they can build 20 Hydras and 10 Queens relatively
That's
easily.
what happened.
And that's why you need the Templar. You need at least Archons, if not Storm.
That mineral field's gone. Look,
You know, you can't just pull out a Fleet Beacon and a Templar Archives and air upgrades and all these gates. No. I forget if it was you or the Terran player. We were talking about build order stews. As opposed to, or rather build stews as opposed to build orders.
Well, it's me.
Yes, this is... You can't just put, like, the hot sauce in with the applesauce in with the cheese. Or maybe you can. I don't know. But it doesn't sound good. And then a bunch of rocks.
we're going to the lake
Those are the cannons. The cannons are rocks. They add to the taste.
game.
I guess for this matchup, I don't know what I'm supposed to like hit.
Immortals, Archons, and Charge Lots.
Okay.
Or like 6 Void Rays. If you're gonna go double
When-
Stargate, like 6 Void Rays into Immortals, Archons, and Charge Lots. You can start with the charge, but at
When do
50
I-
probes, 8 gates.
when do I go into like splash?
Usually, like, as charge finishes Templar Archives. Like, if your Twilight is after your Stargates, as well, after starting charge, I guess, is a better timing. It kind of depends on how much gas you're going, if you're actually using. Like, when was the last... Have you built 2 Stargate units at once at any point in this game? Like...
Probably not.
You've had
Okay,
2
right now.
Stargates this whole time, but yeah. There you go, 2 Void Rays. It's too late for the Void Rays, though. The Void Rays are good until they get Lair, and then they become less and less good. You're going into the Void Rays right at when he's at his strongest countering them, is what you're doing. You're literally going uphill into them because it took way too long and he already has Hydras. The Void Rays are good because they can control the whole game until there's a bunch of Hydras.
I just realized the...
Oh
the
my
Void
god,
Rays-
what are you doing with these rebels? You hit nothing! Oh, you hit 1 drone! Oh my... I appreciate the effort, but like, you gotta hit something.
Well...
It's like it's on the hotkey, so...
Base is under attack. Forces are taking damage.
That 1 drone is feeling very watched right now.
I just realized the oracles and the void rays have what do you call it? Drivers, not drivers, pilots in there.
You gotta stop. Alright, you gotta stop with the revelation. Oh my god. 1 creep tuber and you got a Hydra. I mean, it's probably going where the rest of the Hydras are going, so... Hey, it's enough, right? Like, it was
You're
enough.
engaging the opponent. Time to raise your APM.
Oh, what the hell are you doing? This is my favorite of your weird issues. Yeah, I like this a lot more than the not building gates part, or the having 1200 gas without any Archons or Templar part. At least you got the Templar Archives. But, and that one had some mild use, so I'll give you that. It feels like it's on your Void Ray hotkey, so you keep feeling obligated to do something with the Oracle.
Well, otherwise...
Otherwise, just sitting
know.
there. So yeah, this would be, if ever there were a time to warp in Archons. You have not as many warp-ins as I thought, but like, this would be the time.
Forces are under attack.
You can't be 11 minutes in the game with no Archons. Like, you may have used them in the past, Archon drop builds where you're dropping Archons at 5 minutes. So, like, what is Blink?
Yeah.
We're gonna upgrade Blink. Look at your base! Like, you are looking through your base for things to do. He's on your front doorstep. Your Void Rays are nowhere to be seen. You saw his army there. Like, this is a real issue, and it hurts a lot more against Zerg, because Zerg is just able to overwhelm you quicker and easier than Terran. Terran kind of grinds you down, so you have time to react, like we saw in the last game. But if you look away, the Banelings just kill all of your charge lots, and since all of your units are nowhere to be seen, then you don't have anything. Like, this is, of all times, this would be the time to stare at your army.
Warriors have engaged the enemy.
Okay.
Upgrade makes your unit stronger.
Imagine 4 Archons right now.
Are they that good?
Are they that good? That was sarcastic, right? 4 Archons instead of any of these Adepts.
I guess I don't have enough gates. Still don't.
Well, at least no, you did just warp in more charge lots instead of any Templar, and you do have 1700 gas. And also, you've
Well-
never had enough gates this entire season. I'm comfortably going to say, this whole season, you have never had enough gates.
Your forces are taking
At
probably
6
true.
minutes, not at 2 minutes, maybe not at 4, but at 6 minutes, you've not had enough gates,
damage.
and that's when it matters. Like when you
Unless I'm
finally get
playing-
the economy.
Unless I'm playing 2 base all in, I have enough gates.
So, or even Templar here, you could just feed back the queens. Feedback on the queens and your Void Rays live. Instead of your probes fighting and losing to queens. Yeah, okay. 2 High Templar, maybe. Any more than 0, I'll accept. Oh my god. Any more. You have
Maybe-
2,500 gas. You can't use it next game.
Maybe I forgot I have Templar Archives.
Well, it'd be... I hope you forgot, because otherwise you'd be willfully not using it. Yeah, so if at any point, I'm comfortable saying, if you had 1 Archon with your shield batteries, you would have won this fight, and probably with it the game. 1. And it wasn't like you needed anything else. Let's go to the point where if you had 1 Archon, you would potentially, maybe not the whole game, maybe that's a bit much because you can still throw it all away. But you have more probes when this fight starts, by the way. You have more bases. You have better upgrades. So when this fight starts, I'm just stressing this because you need to focus on the... Like, your macro isn't bad except when it's really bad. And this is one of those things. Like, you built cannons and shield batteries acknowledging there's a threat on your doorstep, right?
Yeah.
You have not as many warp... You just warped in 3 charge lots at your 4th for undisclosed reasons. All you need to do is live right now. Your Templar Archives is done. It's done. Entirely. And it has been for a while. Yes, now is when we start Blink. You have 8 gates now, as you're doing this whole macro.
You're engaging.
If you warp in Archons anywhere except directly under the army, if any of them finish right now, you hold. Yes, it's not so much that they're going to kill everything. It's all the Zerglings and Banelings that your Zealots keep tripping on, and then potentially against Queens. It's just so much for them to kill that...
Upgrade complete.
Like, you see your Zealots start charging into Zerglings? That doesn't happen nearly as much if the Zerglings are dead. They don't kill Hydras that well, but everything else they do. But we have about 30 Warpins here, and none of them are Templar. And that is like 90% of your problem. If we ignore the fact that if you had more gates, maybe you would have finally warped in Templar, because you would have been able to spend all your minerals, and you would have run out and been like, I guess I could warp in Templar. So, thankfully you lost all your probes, so maybe... No. Oh, god damn it. Oh, you just had to. Like, you know this is somehow worse than not warping in Archons at any point. You've now passed the point in the game where probably you can win. You've passed the point where Archons would make the difference. But I think there was a moment of hesitation where you're like, are they going to get stuck? And then you're like, well, I can't go out there, so... Like... So here we are.
I think this it's finally I got not enough minerals.
You
I
finally
realized I have these.
You finally ran out of minerals, so now it's time to start a carrier. I don't know, oh my god. And you can't... You might be able to go out... No, that's way too many Hydras now. Like,
Base is under attack.
yeah, no carriers. No carriers until you... Carriers come at 150 supply minimum. Okay?
This upgrade makes your unit
So you need more... This entire day can be summarized with more gates, though. You also need to just remember and see basic things. Which, the more gates, you can solve that. I don't know how you solve not seeing the minimap or forgetting about your tech buildings. The forgetting your tech buildings can be solved by saying, okay, 6 Void Rays, and then Charge, and then Templar, and then +1. And then at 150 supply, you can go Sky Toss. Okay?
I
Like,
guess
it sounds like a lot, it's not that much.
that's
Like,
the plan.
alright. 6 Void Rays, then... Oh, how about 4 Void Rays, then TC, Charge plus Templar, plus +1. That's not confusing. So that way you have enough, like 4 Void Rays is enough that he can't just ignore them with Zerglings. That's why you usually see 4 to 6. It's enough that a couple Queens can't handle it. They have to build Spores. They kind of have to go Hydras. The other option is like a big queen push, but I don't think many people are pulling that off in a timely manner at this level. So if you get your gates up in time, more gates, more gates, more gates. That's so much of it. Like it.
When does the gates come in? For the 4 void rays go to
50 probes, more gates. Well,
50 probes.
and then
So about
one gate.
Third will be finished.
I'm putting it. Second gate after second void ray starts, because that should put it finishing around when warp gate finishes, and then you're building void rays for a while. And then you get your third, and then after you get your third, because you're relying on the void rays to protect your third against zerglings, right? And you're assuming you don't just let zerglings into your natural. We're gonna assume that in the future. Fair? Okay. No more zerglings in the natural for no reason. No.
Well, maybe.
There were so many things that were. Looking at it now, they're obvious. Like you could just do that, and you're better off, right? Like building a building so the zerglings don't get in. Does that seem like a thing you can do?
It seems like it, probably.
Let's hope so. But any other questions outside of the gateways? Because you have the right path on both of. Like you built the Templar archives and then you went Blink and Fleet Beacon for some reason. Like you forgot you were going the right direction and then wandered off into defeat. Like yeah. Oh yeah, Twitch chat, just to let you know, is more stupid than you. You notice how I didn't care much about the oracles except how fun they were? It was nice you were using the oracles. Who cares? But I just want to make a point that Twitch chat, if they care about the revelations at all, are missing all of the point. Just like Bob was missing all of his revelations. It was impressive. Like, such a large radius. But I like that you're putting it on the same hotkey as Void Rays as opposed to trying to manage both, because it's just not worth the effort. I don't think it's worth the effort.
I use it to clear creeps.
Let's hope we get to that point. Okay. Any other big questions?
No. It seems like the struggles against Zerg is basically not enough gates.
More gates. Like you gotta just get the wall. Like you gotta cross your T's and dot your I's and warp in enough units or pylons in the right spot. Like you have the tools, you just didn't use any of them. You already in that last game had everything you needed. You just had also other things. What's up?
There's a game right after this, playing against the same guy, and
is it worth watching? We can speed through it if you'd like.
I think I got enough gates because I even pushed out with them, but
yeah, you got to use that Zest strat, which is just getting up in their grill and punch him in the face as much as you can, and hoping it's enough. Like,
let me send the link. It's right after this game.
Was it on Oxide?
Yeah.
Against GBFK?
Yeah, the same guy.
I got it. I'm pretty sure this guy got the fake masters. Oh yeah, he definitely did. He has fake masters.
Yeah, he has the borders.
Yeah, but he's only like 100 MMR higher, so... Oh yeah, leave the game.
Oh right. Forgot about that.
Alright, so, yeah, we're just gonna speed through. And you can point out anything
Well,
That's a better
the
position.
The opening is pretty bad. I'm so afraid of the hatch block. I went for Nexus first.
That is a weird way to solve your problems. I mean, you'll probably get away with it, but like... That's not the worst way to deal with a hatch block. I mean, if you get away with it and doesn't really slow down your game plan, then it's actually better.
Now I have your attention.
It's just, it usually leaves you more vulnerable to a wide variety of things that aren't him literally just going hatch first.
Yeah.
But he went hatch first, so there you go. That Zealot probably should have just chilled. Or not been built.
Yeah.
Well, now we're getting... That's the gate timing. Well, that's one gate timing. Are we gonna build here? A Twilight? Why are we building a Twilight?
Well, I'm going ground.
Are you?
Yeah.
Our forces are under attack.
Then why did you build the Stargate?
Well, you build a Void Ray and the Zerg got scared and built high
Okay.
and you go charge lock. That's the
Well,
plan.
if that's actually what you're doing, then good. But if it is... So, you know when a good time would... Wait, are we going ground or are we going for a third?
Right now. A ground and a
That always
Zerg.
beats a
Okay.
So, it feels like a Warp Prism would be a useful addition here.
one.
So at least you got the gates, but this is like an all-in timing for the gates. But you don't have a Warp Prism, and also you took a third. So this is a better way to be confused about your build, at least. I'll give you that. Like, it wouldn't have been a bad timing for the gates with like a Warp Prism and an all-in. But now it's like you do, like once the gates finish, you want to warp in units. Is how it works. Or you're gonna wait for your Warp Prism that you forgot to build? Is what we're gonna do? Okay.
Yeah.
So I would say if you're doing a Warp Prism all in, make sure you focus on getting the Warp Prism, because yeah, this isn't an all in anymore. This is just like a timing ish.
But it's actually a +1 timing.
It's not. It's only a +1 timing because your +1 is so late. And also, it's already done. You're not hitting as +1 is done. You're hitting like 30 seconds later. If you hit when +1 was done, he would not have had Hydra range or Baneling speed. But no, it's not a +1 timing. It's a +1 afterthought.
Upgrade complete.
That's what we got. If you would actually attacked with +1, that would have been dangerous.
Attacking your base has been lined out. Hope you have an expansion. Your forces are taking damage.
It's also a +1 timing into having Storm being researched as we're doing it. Where are you going? Yeah, you if you're gonna do a timing, you commit.
Your warriors having
Like, you don't attack with all these units and then just lose half of them and leave. You didn't even kill the base. You're giving him so much time, like, it doesn't get better for you. He gets more Hydras, he gets more Banes, gets harder and harder. This is another scenario where if you just warped in any amount of Archons, you have the Templar Archives. Like,
I don't know I have that down.
engaging the opponent.
you started Storm! You're halfway
Oh.
done with Storm. You actively chrono boosted it. Not that it matters because you didn't warp in any Templar. Am I talking to two different people here? Because that would explain a lot of how you play. Like, one guy over here has a plan. He's gonna do charge lots into Templar, and the other guy really likes microing all those units, but not at the same time. Like,
Time to raise your APM.
so yeah, you put a lot of effort into letting him hold this.
That mineral field's gone.
If you had actually done a +1 timing, even your late Warp Prism +1 timing, you might have won just off that. But this was not a +1 timing. This was a +1 finish, so maybe I'll move out and then I'll wait another minute, warping in 2 more rounds of charge lots despite having Storm on the way. Timing, which is not as good.
Looks like we're
Uh,
going for late
yeah.
game.
I'm just dead right now.
You even hotkeyed your Templar archives or something? I don't... What? Oh, at least... Oh, you ran out of minerals. That's the only way you get Templars? You run out of minerals? This is why you need more gates, so that way you run out of minerals more often. Like, if you have enough gates, you'll both have less minerals because you built gates. And also, you'll run out of minerals warping and charge knots. So it solves all of your problems. Because you're a Protoss player. That means math doesn't make any sense to you. But you know what it feels like? It feels like I can't warp in any charge lots. What else? Oh, Templar! I don't...
My dad always researches that one.
Yeah, we can go
One more gate.
8
Oh, wait,
times.
no, god damn it. It's a fleet beacon. You slap down the fleet beacon and you say we can go 8 times? I see.
Yeah, I'm dead.
You're dead? If you had, like... you're not, you're winning!
What's up?
No, like, look at the supply.
That mineral field.
It's not even that bad. It's like 2 warp-ins away from being even. Like...
Done. Looks like we're
Unless you can only warp in charge slots until you're out of minerals, in which case you're screwed because you don't have enough Templar to do. Like, 80% of games of professional ZVPs, like the Zerg will be up like 20 or 30 supply. But Protoss units are overall better. That's how Zerg works. Have you not watched the cinematics? Like, I don't. The Protoss units do crazy shit. Where the Zerg units have a lot of them.
going to the late game.
I will
In the
refer you to the
cinematics.
Legacy of the Void cinematic.
Oh, that Archon killed the Ultras.
Well, if he builds an Ultra, you probably already won. And honestly, Archons with a little micro can beat Ultras.
They're taking damage.
They do like 50 damage against biological with upgrades. Like, this is another scenario like a couple Archons and a couple more Storms. All things you could have had. God, your Storms are so good too. Like, they're actually very good. You literally only warp in Templar when you run out of minerals. Like, I have yet to see you warp in a Templar without having less than 100 minerals. Watch this. Your camera. Warp-ins come up. 2 Zealots, out of minerals. Fuck. Templar. Oh my god. Ah!
Our forces are under attack.
So, once again, all this is solved by more gates. And it might feel like you're about to lose the game, right?
Yeah.
How about that supply now? How does the supply look? Does it look terrible, like you're about to get obliterated?
Nope.
You're engaging the opponent.
No, now is the time to not warp in Templar, by the way. Or at least get Archon. Oh my god. Oh. We're out of minerals. What time is it? It's time to pull the probes, I guess. Okay. No, they're banelings.
Taking damage.
Oh my god. You are really... I hope this has just let you see how...
Oh no.
I hope you see how much effort you put into screwing yourself over. Are you seeing it now? Does this perspective help a little bit?
Yeah.
I don't know if it'll solve anything. Well, that Zealot's coming home with all its battle experience. You ran out of minerals. There's 1 more Templar. I don't think you needed those gates as much as you need more units. Oh my god. Thankfully, this is forcing you to make Archon. Make Archons! Oh my god! What? Why? You're looking at it too. I'm on your camera. You've been looking at your... You really put a lot of effort into losing in PvZ. I will give you credit.
They're attacking your base, you know.
The recall was supposed to be for the warp prism, was it not?
Your base is under attack.
Well,
Do you have any idea what it was for? Like,
Stay cool.
no. I'm
Oh
just
my-
like,
of
I
all
need
the
units,
pylons
and
to
I-
warp
that's a
in.
Unit.
1 Zealot. You haven't even... Okay, I guess you're close enough to losing now, but like... Oh my. You put a... Like, you did everything right, but you used it entirely wrong. Even your timing attack semi quote-unquote all-in build was fine. That was actually a decent macro build. It wasn't a good all-in build. but it was a decent macro build. So I see the problem is you think that all-in builds are, you think macro builds are all-in. Greedy does not mean feeling like you don't have enough units. It means managing your money better. So all of your solutions we see here are solved by more gates. You need to get enough gates that you run out of minerals for zealots, so that way you can win games. That's what you need to do. Okay? Like,
Yeah.
that's the only way I see you winning with it as it currently stands. So aim for 10 gates and 60 probes. Okay? That's the target. Do that, and then you'll eventually run out of charge lot warpins and get Templar, and then you'll have good units. Wow. Okay, anything else?
Nope.
Nope. Okay, well, more gates. Have a great night.
Yeah. Have a great night.
See you next time.